I do it with a passion. If I gotta be I'ma be a bad one. An AL with a design still right. Bounce back ain't good while we talking practice.
Hey YouTube world, this is your girl Yana Zaz. I'm coming to you just with a come and chat with me. I have been getting the question of what was my real estate test like. I just wanted to share my journey and share my process, and hopefully it encourages someone else to take the plunge, make the sacrifice, and go where your heart leads. So if you're interested in learning how I got into real estate, keep watching. So I did a Q&A a couple months ago. If you have not watched that Q&A to get to know a little bit more about me, you can go back and watch it. But just a small recap. In 2008, I started a business that lasted 9 years, and unfortunately it had to close down due to the lack of funding, and I relocated to the state of Florida. I found whenever I came to Florida that the fire I had inside of me for education was kind of dwindling away. I do still love teaching with a passion. However, financially, it does not afford the lifestyle that I want to live. And also, unfortunately, it comes with a lot of stress, and it comes with a lot of responsibility that, in my opinion, doesn't meet the paycheck. And so I tried to do something different or in junction with education in order to have the breaks that I do have from school be a lot more meaningful. I wanted education to be more of a passion instead of a survival. Okay, so once I found myself, not really interested in education as much as I was, I went and I applied for a job in sales. It was in retail because I've always had a thing for makeup and fashion. However, it wasn't what I was educated in as far as my degree. And, I'm 38 years old at the time. So going to design school or fashion school was just not at the forefront of my brain. I was in my car on my way to a dance class, and I rode past a real estate office. Didn't really think anything of it, but later on that evening, for some reason, a condo that was literally like maybe 20 minutes from me had a price tag on it of $6 million. And the question was, what would the commission be for this condo? And let's just say that the amount was, for that one condo, however much work, 3 months, 6 months that you had to put into it, it was going to have you sitting pretty for a while, right? So I decided that I would be interested in learning more about real estate. I had gone through the process of owning a home, and the interest had been sparked in me being a landlord. Never an agent, because basically if you buy the property, you can sell it without a license. But so I decided, hey, maybe I would be a good agent. So that same real estate office, I went into that real estate office and I spoke with the gentleman about becoming an agent. So he told me about the school, he told me about the cost, he told me about the process in order to become an agent. And it didn't seem that bad because basically you had to learn and take a test. So I'm a teacher. Learning and taking tests is what I do. So I was like, cool. I called about the test. Unfortunately, the price tag was like more than I can afford, and I thought I was going to have to save up in order to attend the school. They broke it down into payment plans, and as long as I could meet those payment plans, then I would be able to sign up for school. No problem. Took a second job to teaching, and I started the classes. Now, I was doing really well in the classes, outside of the fact that I was exhausted. I have to be honest. I was exhausted during class, but I read the material, and I looked over the material, and I studied the material so that I would be successful with the test. And, class was fun. The interaction with other peers is always a plus for me. I can articulate myself whenever it comes to understanding the material, so forth and so on. So then you had to take a test, and the test was in order to pass the class. And once you passed the class, then you had to take the state exam. So I took the class test and failed by 3 points. Now, most people would say, but you're a teacher, like, this is what you do. And you're absolutely right. But what is not seen is the life that was happening to me at that time. At that particular time, I hated my job, my full-time teaching job. I hated going there. And I was also working at night and closing a store. So whenever I would try to dedicate the time and the energy towards this test, oftentimes the energy just wasn't there. It was hard for me to stay focused on studying. And what was so crazy, right, is that I felt that because I had did like the online test and got high scores, and I had typed out all the material, that my brain was enough, that I was going to pass the test based on how smart of a person that I am. And I was wrong. Like, I was dead wrong. Even though it was 3 points, it was still a fail. And so I had to go back 30 days later and take that test again. Now, this time I passed, all right? No problem. I passed. And, what ended up happening was the notes that I typed up for myself and color-coded, I didn't study them really. I actually gave my notes to another student, and that student passed as I was failing. She passed, I failed, and I ended up 30 days having to retake the test and passing it because I studied my own notes. Now, that test is slightly different from the state exam. Now, the state exam is a test where it's not testing you based on the knowledge that you learn. This is Florida. I can't account for everybody's test in every state. I can only account for the test that I took based on my experience as an educator. All right? So in my experience as an educator, this particular test did not test you on the material, didn't test you on the knowledge of the material. It was testing you on the accuracy of the knowledge. So the choices that they would give you would be similar. You literally had to choose without a shadow of a doubt the best answer. So there would be, something on the test that the first part of it would be right, but the second part would be wrong. Or there would be one word in the question that made the other three choices wrong, and then that one right. So you literally had to use process of elimination, knowledge, understanding, in order to find the right answer. Because there wasn't just one right answer. There was one really, really, really right answer. So again, life is happening. I'm extremely stressed. I'm definitely not going back to my previous job. I'm in a new state. I have to find another job. A lot of life is happening to me. And I'm under a lot of pressure. But I'm determined that since I began this journey, I have to finish it. There's no quit in me. There's no other option. I have to meet this goal. I failed the first test. I don't even remember by how many points. Now, I think it was my nerves. And I didn't study. Because I felt like I studied the notes from the first test. I'm just going to go in there with that knowledge from the first test and bang it out. Test is different. All right. So when you go in, again, this is the state of Florida. Can't account for any other state. Don't know the process. When you go in, you got to turn your pocket. It's like a strip search, like you're going to jail. You got to turn your pockets inside out. You get patted down to the ankles. You got to lock up your belongings. They give you strict instructions. They put you in a room. The room is monitored by cameras. And you have to sit at this computer and take this test. I forget how many questions it was, like 100 and something questions. And you got to get basically like 75 of them right, or you got to get a certain percentage right in order to pass the test. And so I sit down, I'm nervous, I answer the questions to the best of my ability, and I fail. So I'm sad because in my head, I'm going to pass this test, sell 2 houses, and never have to teach again. That was my thought process. It was a terrible thought process, but that was my thought process. I don't know anybody in Florida. I barely know the geography of the land, where you want to be, where you don't want to be. If you're looking for this, what area, I don't know a whole lot. But I'm determined not to be a teacher, so I'm just trying to make everything happen. And so when I failed that first test, I was devastated. You hear me? Like, devastated. I go back in, 30 days later. Life is still happening. I'm actually moving counties. So I'm moving from one county to the other. There's a whole mess of stuff in between those 2 counties that I don't have enough time in this video. But in between any breathing second that I get to study, I'm studying. I'm not studying the test, which is the problem. I'm studying the material. There's a difference. As an educator, sometimes you have to understand how a teacher assesses you and compare that to the understanding of the knowledge that the teacher has given you. I cannot say that the life that was happening to me did not affect how I was retaining the information. All I know is that outside of being a teacher, I'm a smart person. So I'm a smart student as well as a awesome teacher. So I felt like I should not be failing these tests. So I failed it again 2 times. I'm stressed out. I know that if I don't pass the next test, basically I gotta start this whole process over again. Like, I gotta go back to school, take these classes again, take these online tests again, pass the test for the class, and then take the state test all over again. I can't do it. You know what I mean? Like, I can't go back. So I shut down. Anything that was not real estate related, I shut down. I was literally in the dressing room of the department store where I was working at, studying note cards, studying notes, sitting up at night, studying notes. At this point, I had, to be honest, quit my job because the stress and the spiritual burden that I was under was going to drive me crazy, get somebody hurt, or both. So I just had this one job that was not paying the bills. But again, in my head, as soon as I pass this test, I'm going to find somebody that want a house. I'm going to sell them this 6-figure house, 7-figure house, and be eating good in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like, that was just the determination and the perseverance that was going on in my head at the time. But as I kept failing this test, I realized that this was not going to happen. So I had to go back and find another teaching job. Somehow, some way, I had to find another teaching job, continue to go to class, continue to study for this test, and continue to take care of my household. It was hard, y'all. It was hard. You hear me? When you get to a certain age and you have a lot more responsibility on yourself and you're trying to do something, it's not easy. But if you really love it and you're really passionate about it, then it's worth it. So me failing those 2 tests was putting real estate in perspective for me. Because I had to realize that I'm not going to pass this test and sell a house to somebody I have not met yet. I hadn't met like 1,000 people and 50 of them said they wanted to move, buy a house, rent an apartment, or anything like that. I just saw that $6 million condo and had all the faith in myself that I can sell. I can sell this. Like, I can do this. And so I did find another job. And every lunch break, planning period, I'm studying. I'm figuring it out because November 30th is the test. I'm getting ready to go into 2019. I got to get this thing going. The gentleman who had previously helped me, he gave me a whole nother book to study. And, I was taking the test in the back. The ones I got wrong, I was teaching myself, like, why did you get those wrong? What was the real answer? How should you understand that the other 3 answers were wrong? What was the problem? Like, I went into teaching and educating myself on how to take tests. And in the end, I figured out what I had been previously doing wrong, right? And I went back in there, you know, prayed, Jesus, I'm understanding that if I don't pass this test this time, you obviously do not want me to be a real estate agent. You want me to be a teacher for the rest of my life, and you're going to send this rich man into my life so that I could be a teacher, he could take care of me, and I could use my checks to travel the world, my summers to, you know, be this grandiose photographer. I can write my book, and that my millions are just going to come from somewhere else. Because we have been going through it, and through against all odds and through all storms, we have stayed focused on this real estate journey. So if I don't pass this today, and I have to consider retaking this test, this ain't for me. I pray that this is not the case. I think I'm a wonderful salesperson. I think that as long as I love the product, I can sell it. As long as I understand it, I can teach it. So be with me on this day. You know, I had a whole prayer, y'all. I had a whole prayer. I had been praying previously. It was life. Life was just like boom, 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 boom. What you gonna do? You gonna hit me back? You gonna lay down? You gonna quit? You gonna keep going? What you gonna do? Right? I really understood the strength in me as a person. Went in there on November 30th. At this time, I live in another county. I go to a whole nother testing site. I walk in, same process. Turn your pockets inside out. Get patted down to the ankles. Stand on this mark. Give them your life, your birth certificate, social security, whatever they ask for. Lock your other stuff up. Sit down at this desk and hope and pray that you answer enough questions correctly. I came out, my heart beating like boom, 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 boom. I'm nervous, you know, because they give you the response right then and there. So when she printed it out, she like handed it to me, but the way she handed it to me was like as if she was getting ready to tell me, you know, you failed again, this is what you got to do in order to pass. And I saw the word passed in bold capital letters. There were still other people in there testing, but I screamed. I was like, thank you, Jesus! And she was like, shh. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Like it was a blissful moment. So I can only imagine if I could feel like that for passing the test, how much better am I going to feel on my first deal? Unfortunately, because I had switched counties, I could no longer work for the man that I signed up with. You know, like he gave me a card, I got a discount. I was, you know, anticipating working for him in his office, which was in Miami, but I ended up moving to Broward. The company had a branch here in Broward, but they was bad and bougie. Different kind of bad, different kind of bougie. I couldn't get down with it. I left, and I ended up being with Kai's company. My current broker is amazing. He's real cutthroat, to the point. He'll tell you if it looks like a good deal, if it looks like a bad deal, what you should say, what you shouldn't say, constantly teaching, educating, answering his phone, answering text messages, very supportive, and it was literally right down the street. Unfortunately, again, for the summer, in my 90 days, I could not close a 5-6 figure deal because I don't know anybody. I really don't know anybody now because I met people whenever I was in Dade County, but not a lot. And now I live in Broward County and I don't know anybody. And so I'm excited. I'm excited about starting from ground zero. I'm excited about building a business, building a brand. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll be selling Trina a house, or DJ Khaled, or Trick Daddy, or, Miami Tint. You know what I mean? You never know. In the near future, I could be a celebrity realtor and sell houses. But I know that the sky's the limit, and if you really want it bad enough, nothing should stop you. Nothing can stop you, because that passion is like a fire burning on the inside of you, and nobody can put it out. They just can't. So, hopefully the parts that I have shared with you have encouraged you or motivated you to pursue your dreams. And maybe it's not in real estate. No matter what it is, if you really want it, don't let life get in the way. It's a hurdle, it's an obstacle, absolutely, but don't let it stop you. Just put one foot in front of the other and keep making the necessary efforts to achieve your dream. And it has to come to pass. Like, literally, like, it has to come to pass. Because if you don't quit, even if, God forbid, I had to take that class all over again, I would have just knew more. I would have been more educated about it. So this summer, I'm going back, and I'm going to do more networking, and I'm going to try to close my first 3 deals in 2020, because I have an amazing broker who is going to connect me with the right people, and we're going to get this money. Alright? So you have a blessed and wonderful new year, good people. I mean it. Don't let life bring you down. Knock down 7 times, get up 8. That's what life is about. Because it's definitely going to knock you down. Just don't stay down, okay? So, this is your girl, Yana's Eyes, saying, did you subscribe to my channel? What you waiting for? Why are you not subscribed to my channel yet? Hit the notification bell. I'm coming with a little bit more. Coming with some different stuff. Definitely gonna come to y'all with my first sale. But at the end of the day, I need you to rock with me. Cool? Alright. So again, this is your girl, Yana's Eyes. Comment below. Tell me something that you want to accomplish in 2020. And I'll pray. I'll pray with you. Prayer is definitely a necessity. And I'm here to encourage. Alright? See you when I see you. Peace.